Right, ready to roll? This is Antony Rotunno, and this is number 7 in a series of interviews with musicians in Madrid. Today we've got Simon Hughes. How are you?
I'm alright, man. Yeah, good to
all
be
good.
here.
Excellent. Should we just set the scene again? It's quite similar actually, we're almost in the same spot as the last one I did with James Jarman. But do you want to set the scene for us? Come on.
We're just by the Crystal Palace in Retiro Park in Madrid. It's very nice. And there seems to be no one around us at all, apart from a weird guy in the bushes who's actually camouflaged as the bush. You couldn't make it up, could you?
He's jumping out and scaring people.
Yeah.
You
literally
there's some great eccentric stuff in this park. But like other parks are bigger. This one's definitely got the most variety and
Apart from the naked men in Casa de Campo.
Yeah, we did see like a naked old guy. But he's wearing sandals and a hat, in fairness. But
Immortalised, great.
yeah. Anyway, where should we start? Yeah, what I thought we'd do is you just put an album online recently, so we'll talk about that and then we'll go back and do all the origins stuff. So just being distracted by this guy. Seems like he's dressed up in a grass. Is that supposed to be grass?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be some kind of like.
I think it's a bush. Yeah,
he's dressed as a walking bush. Yeah, I think I saw one of those suits before in like one of these army surplus stores in Cardiff. I think it is. You can actually buy it. It's like supposed to be some kind of camouflage suit for in the bushes. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they use them in Vietnam or something.
All right. Anyway, as I was saying,
I'm just making it up.
No, don't worry. Yeah, so you just put this album online. So can you just tell us about that? How long did it take, and what kind of music would you say it is?
Oh, sure. Well, yeah, it took me 2 years to make. I was making it. I started making it. Actually, I mean, I've been working on the production on my music for a long time. It's been a long time since I don't even remember how many years it's been since my first EP came out. I mean, I think it was about 2008, so a fair while ago. But since then, I was trying to work on improving my production skills. So each time I was producing something, it was better than the last thing, and I was never getting a consistency in production. So when I finally started getting a consistency in production, I was like, right, we're rolling, let's do an album. And that was literally just before I started traveling around New Zealand, and so I was doing it there as well. We're kind of doing it while I was living in Dunedin, and while we were on the road, whenever we were in a backpackers, I was plugging my laptop in and having to play around with the mixes and things like that. So, and then when I moved to Madrid, obviously I had a bit more space to actually set up something and get it properly finished. So yeah, 2 years in total. And it's, I don't know, that the sound for me, I say it's eclectic, but what is that? I mean, it's definitely genre specific. I used to say I'm just a singer-songwriter, but are you still a singer-songwriter when you're sequencing the drums and putting the bass lines on there and pianos and you're putting like, cello in the background and things like this? You think, is this still a singer-songwriter genre? I don't know. It's hard to say.
Would they exist could they exist quite easily with just acoustic guitar? Because that would be the acid test, because I think some stuff really relies on having a band. But would they work just acoustic guitar and voice?
Yeah.
If you needed to? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it probably still is in the singer-songwriter genre, really. Yeah, because like Leonard Cohen or people like that, he had all kind of soaring voices on some of his songs.
Yeah, that's it. I like to put all kinds of like layered vocals in the background and things like that. And one track on like Forget and Live, I tried to actually do a bit of the techniques that I'd heard from Nile Rodgers in Chic, where he'd just basically layer the vocals in octaves, which was interesting, trying to get the highest octaves and the lowest octaves, and then just hide them subtly behind each other, and it just gives out this nice little fill. And it's actually so subtle, it's hard to even tell it's there on the track. But yeah, it was I got to a certain level of sound of production, but then it became like an experimentation in different in each different song. I tried to make a different style to try different techniques and see what happened. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, really, and it's made me a much better producer for doing it.
So you've always been quite into production side. Did you record it on your own equipment? Is it like home equipment?
Yeah. I use a Ableton Live, and I've got an Ableton Push, which is a beautiful thing to use. I mean, I love it. It's just you can just play any instrument on it. You know, obviously apart from guitar and bass, I like to play anyway. But configuration on the keys is just like playing an accordion. So it's great if you want to learn how to play an accordion. You can just pick one of those up and you get a feel for it. But yeah, you can do everything production-wise out of the box, so to speak. You know, like you don't have to do it in the laptop. You can do it all on the Ableton Push. You don't even have to look at the screen. You can just keep it going from that one unit. So that's been a real game changer for me, getting that. While I was traveling around, I was getting samples of people. I met an Italian guy who was great at playing didgeridoo. So I sampled him playing for like 20 minutes, and he put lots of different kinds of sounds in those 20 minutes. So I can chop that up and put that in the backs of tracks. You know, I've got all these sources of like just meeting musicians of strange instruments while you're on the road.
Do you ever record sound effects or anything? Do you ever record ambient sound or anything?
Yeah, I've got quite a big collection of that kind of thing, because I mean I did like a degree of sonic art at university. Essentially, it was taking samples of found sounds and then making not music. It is literally more like sonic art, painting with sound. It was interesting, but it did give me that kind of foundation of if I hear an interesting sound, I'll get it down. And you know, I remember when I was working in a nightclub that was open until like 6 in the morning, and I'd get home at maybe 8. You know, I'd be on my way home at 8 in the morning past the docks in Preston, in the Marine Lake, and I was getting the samples of the birds chirping, and there's no other like traffic to pollute the sound. So I also had a thing about recording the sounds of trains, like being on the trains. Like going through Liverpool.
That's all. It's so percussive, isn't it?
Yeah, and like
I love the sounds of anything really. I think
I used to get on the trains in Liverpool and open all the windows, and then like press record, and you can hear the train just rattling away as it's going down the tracks. And that I've played around with that actually in some songs I haven't released, but where I've had that sound of the train carriage rocking away, and then I've kind of started to blend. Oh, there he goes. He like that's what he's been waiting for, to scare some girls.
That was a camouflage man, everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on, carry on.
Yeah, so where I've blended in the sound of a song beginning into the sound of the train, so it's like like I'm busking on the train kind of thing, but I'm not. I'm sat at home, and then kind of just blending that away. I like that kind of thing. In fact, on my first EP, there's a lot of that blending in between tracks of ambient sounds. Water dripping on metal and making crazy sounds.
Wonderful. Tell you what, a friend of mine, he wrote a song about the rat race, 9 to 5 grind, and daily grind and everything. And he put train sounds, just put a train sound and then an announcement and some rustling that was supposed to be someone maybe reading their newspaper on the train. And it really transformed the song. The song was good anyway. But he just had that total image of the businessman, you know, kind of bit jaded and taking the train in the morning, and then the rustling of the newspapers. Brilliant.
Yeah, I think
it's a great idea.
There's definitely a group, like a lot of musicians out there that have been really influenced by what Pink Floyd were doing, you know, in like Dark Side of the Moon. Right? All of those like just like strange sounds that were happening in the background, and just conversations happening and. Or
have you heard Alan's Psychedelic Breakfast? You ever heard that? Pink Floyd, from one of their earlier albums.
I'm not sure. Maybe
it's just the sound of like bacon being fried and sizzling and stuff, and then a guy just talking about what he's going to have for breakfast, and that's it.
Yeah, that sounds like what was happening on my course. People were doing stuff like that.
Yeah, just anything, and particularly with effects and everything. I mean, you can just turn almost anything into anything. It's great stuff. It's I think it's one of the ways that music could go forward, because you know, guitar music. There's plenty of good people around, but how long can that go on for? I suppose it can go on forever, in theory. Just guitar music on its own. But I think if you put sound effects or inserts from films or anything.
Well, it's like when Stevie Ray Vaughan was talking about the blues and the origins of the blues and how the rhythms go, and it's like said it's like a blend between like someone like kind of moseying along on a horse, and those rhythms of just
Yeah.
rocking from side to side, and then the rhythms of the freight trains